artists are saying that they're angry. They have not received payments from government relief funds after months of delays by the Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture. To add to their frustrations, the artists say MEC Fezeka Nkomonye issued a misleading statement on Friday, claiming that approximately 200 artists were paid on September 30th. She has since apologized for that error, but we have her on the line now to give us more detail around this. MEC, a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for your time. Let's get to the bottom of this matter. There's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of anger, emotions are really running high as artists say they are starving. You issued a misleading statement on Friday speaking about monies being rolled out. Talk to us about how this error came about.
Good morning, Paul, and good morning to the Newzroom Afrika viewers at home. It's correct, Paul, and the viewers at home, that on the 4th of October, on my Facebook page, I issued a statement indicating that we had started the process of dispersing the payments to the beneficiaries, particularly the artists. And I even showed a clip of a proof of payment, one of those. We've since experienced some delays with effect to payments. We have been using one of our entities, EPEC, to disperse the funds. And at the time when I issued the statement, the officials had indicated to me that more than 200 beneficiaries would have been paid by the end of that week. So I issued the statement on the 4th of October. Subsequent to that, when I realized that there were some delays with respect to those payments, I then issued another statement apologizing for that. But however, thus far we have really made so much progress in terms of dispersing those funds.
What sort of progress is that, MEC?
To date, we have received 878 applications for both sectors, that is your sports as well as arts and culture. To date, we have paid already 564 applicants out of the 878. The delays have been caused by the fact that applicants were required to submit the proof of the banking details, but also an indication that they have not received any other source of income during COVID-19 from other government agencies. That has really caused some delays because information was coming in drips and drabs, and we had to pay in batches. When we received the confirmation, we would then pay those beneficiaries. To date, the only outstanding payments that have not been done are less than 100. Of those 9, we could not get the 9 applicants to confirm their banking details. 2 of the applicants that have not been paid have since been deceased, so we are unable to pay those. The officials are currently working now to conclude the payment, and they are going to be concluded today.
Now, some of the demands from artists was that your department remain and become transparent when it comes to rolling out these funds. Speaking about 9 million rand, they're saying that they want to know exactly how you will be spending it during this period. You are telling me about some of the payments that you have already made and others that are outstanding. Just give us a bit more detail on how exactly the remainder of the funds will be spent during this period.
We've been very transparent, and I know artists could attest to this. On our Facebook page and on all community radio stations and national radio stations, we've been communicating with the artists. We've been working with CIFSA in terms of giving feedback on a weekly basis on how we are dispersing the funds. Further than that, we have already issued a list of those that have already been paid on our Facebook page for everyone to see, in a bid to be more transparent. So going forward, the remainder of the amount that is left, we have set aside 1 million rand so that we can be able to consider the appeals. We have already set aside 150,000 so that we can give to the legends. If there's any other remainder, which I don't think there'll be, because we have already dispersed more than 13 million rand towards artists and as well as athletes. So we are hoping that if there's any other remainder, in fact, we're not hoping, if there's any other remainder of the money, we will clearly indicate what we would do with that money. But in the interim, we are looking at the appeals and have set aside money for the appeals.
I suppose the big question here is also around how the artists and technical companies have been affected by the hard lockdown. In fact, I was speaking earlier on to one such person in Gauteng who's speaking about how the job losses are growing and how the impact of this is weighing down on the shoulders of those who can no longer care for their families and support their day-to-day livelihood. We know that the main grievance here is to ensure that these people in the space are given some sort of leeway to begin operating and working within their spaces in the industry. Do you have any sort of insight as to how far these discussions are in terms of allowing artists and technical companies and so forth to now begin to make ends meet and earn an income?
The national disaster has been extended once again by another month, and since we're at level 1 of the lockdown, we are hoping that at least the artists would be able to at least get some gigs, even if it's not at full capacity. And in a bid to assist them with the economic recovery, as the Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture in the province of the Eastern Cape, we are in a process of procuring equipment, musical instruments, to assist them not only to be getting funds in the short term, but in the medium to long term, so that they can be able to use those equipments or musical instruments to then start the process of the economic recovery and assist them in the future.
And what sort of timeframes are we looking at here? You speak about a huge batch of artists who haven't already been paid, and now you speak of a new commitment that you're making. What are the timeframes?
The last day of payment, Paul, is today, the 18th of October, for all the payments to be made, unless we can't get hold of the beneficiary. But in terms of the music equipment, we have been engaging last week, not last week, early this week on Tuesday, I had a meeting with the artists, and they were raising some of the ideas contradicting our plan of buying them with equipment. So there could be delays there because they are of the view that we must give them money instead of buying equipment and musical instruments for them. So as yet, there are no time frames. But with respect,
Okay, we appear to have
Sorry about that.
Okay, you may continue.
With respect to the payments, Paul, we are concluding today the payments, and the appeals will take maximum 3 days, and then we'll be dispersing payments to those who would have won the appeals.
Okay, let's leave it there for now. We've run out of time. The MEC of Sports, Arts and Culture in the Eastern Cape, Fezeka Nkomonye, thank you very much for your time. Speaking about some of the measures that have been put in place in terms of assisting the artists who are fighting for relief funds, speaking about an error that was made in terms of payments being granted in September, saying that that process has now kicked in and they're now waiting for the last batch of payments to take place.